much. Okay, this is day 2 of Koth. I have all kind of my favorite cards here, and I'm going to tell you about the deck I made. I made the best deck I could make in a day. It's a really good deck. Actually, the record is 19-1. So it's a really good deck, but it's gone through like 5 transitions, and I want to tell you kind of when making the deck how I started with it, and then I want to kind of say how it evolved, because it really took a lot of different shapes. And with Koth, I kind of thought one thing at first. I kind of thought, hey, I'm going to build a powerful deck. I'm getting 12 every match. So, of course, I'm going to have, this that costs 20. And, of course, I'm going to have this that costs 18. And then, I was even kind of getting a little excited. And I was like, oh, is there a place for this? And I just, it's like drain 5 mana from your opponent every time you hit one of those trapped mana. And it just doesn't work. I mean, you can't. So I went through all my different ideas, but here's the first one. I'm going to remove that from the kind of potential card pool because I kind of had an idea and it didn't quite go. So my first idea, that was one of them right there. It was just the big creatures, but it's Koth isn't all about big creatures. It's actually when the big creatures are running, you are going to win, of course. But it's not about the 50 or even 70% of the time when exactly what you want to happen happens. It's about the 30% of the time when it doesn't happen the way you planned, like anything ever does. It doesn't in this game either. That how you adjust and how you can manage that so you can still come out with a win when you don't expect it. So, but my first deck had Harness the Storm, which is a beautiful card. If you don't know, you can just cast spell after spell after spell, and you get some wonderful cascades. So I had Harness the Storm along with this Sure Strike, which is one of my favorite cards. I'm actually going to get rid of it because it didn't pan out. It just created this kind of glutton of cards, and I'm casting like if I'm getting 12 mana, like I have to wait for this, and then there was a bunch of cards that like a bunch of spells that are just beautiful spells, but my hand was just frozen because like gain control of target creature. Well, that's in my hand, but I can't cast it. So that didn't do any good. I got Demolish, and that's wonderful spell, but I could never cast it. Right here, target creature takes damage equal to its power. Inner Struggle, beautiful card, one I'm using a lot now, but I couldn't cast it. And so having a deck where you could cast lots of cards didn't work. The Harness the Storm works great with spirits and things because you're casting creatures, and then you can cast it no matter what's happening. It works great with Exquisite Firecraft because you just do 6 and 6 damage over again, but it didn't work well here. So because that didn't work well, and I'm kind of eliminating these cards as I go, things like Uncaged Fury, which is a wonderful card, but again, unless you have a creature out, you aren't doing anything with it. I had this glutton of cards, so so I got rid of this. I got rid of this one mainly too. Again, if it's going well, you don't need this card. You need cards that kind of get you out of a bind, if that makes sense. So then my second idea was that I have this big creature, and I actually like this Wolf of Devil's Breach, because every time it attacks, you discard one card. It does 5 damage to all the opponent's creatures, so you can wipe them out pretty quickly, and then it attacks while doing 5 damage to the opponent too. So it's really like a 10-5, and it does 5 damage to everybody. But I'm discarding, so I'm thinking, well, if I'm getting all these free discards, let's take advantage of that, and let's build the deck around it, and let's do a few things here. One, let's add this, because it has Madness, and I repeat, and I'm doing damage all the time. I'm just give you a heads up, that didn't work. I have one card that discards. Actually, I have another creature in here. This is a brand new creature. Discard your entire hand. Well, I've kind of been saving that spell to kill a creature that's not out yet. I mean, I'm like, filled. This wasn't in my deck at the time, but I've saved 12 mana to destroy target creature, and I'm discarding it. I'm having Demolish in my hand, and it just didn't work. So the whole idea, and that's one of my brand new cards, I wanted to use it. The whole idea of the kind of discarding cards, this might go back in actually, but the whole idea of discarding the cards didn't really work. And then the other idea was, and this is, I built a deck that dealt with discards. So then I played that for 3 times. I did well. I'm actually 19-1. I don't know if I said that earlier. So I'm winning 95% of the time, but it just didn't work. And then also I need cards to do that, right? So I have the journal, which invest it with, which gives me a new card every turn, just about. Um, Jory gets me a new card every turn. I have the archive, which gets me a new card. So I was getting so many cards because I had a deck then where if I'm burning cards, and I am using a discard card, and if I'm burning them, but I took out all my discard cards, I don't need that anymore. And this, because there's no mana gain in it, is using that cost me 12 mana to do something I can do for 5. I know one's a mythic and one's a rare, but this rare is better, even though with the journal it's actually like a 2-turn delay because it has to investigate in 2 turns. But Jory is doing the same thing and gives me a 4/5 creature. So just kind of know that's how it was working. So the other thing with, and Chandra, she is a wonder. She's beautiful. I think it's great, but it when she first came out, I used her for like 2 weeks. I haven't used her since because she just doesn't quite hold up. Um, the other thing is, so with Koth, here's the biggest thing in the whole thing is that 70% of the time you have red matches going great, but when you don't have red matches, you just don't have them. You just grind and grind to get out of 20, and by then you've taken 5 turns worth of hits, and you're dead. You're dead. Uh, and then or they get so many creatures out that when that comes out and does 6/6 to everybody, none of them die. So I had to put things like Turn Against, which can get you out of a bind, especially if one of them, obviously, if one of them has Defender or Reach or something like that, take the other one, so they both take damage. Um, I wanted this in here. Again, it's a great mythic. Not really a great mythic, but it's a nice mythic, has its place. But if I am behind, the double damage really just kills me. I mean, that works great if you're ahead, but um, it just wasn't working. So then my next one, actually, this went with my spells decks. I got rid of it. And the wolf is in a lot of my red decks, and I like it. But this is counterintuitive because it's a wonderful card. I like it in all my decks, but I'm trying to get as many red out there as I can, and all the abilities. Koth's first ability is destroy 12 non-red cards or gems. So if I'm destroying the red gems, the non-red gems, there's a lot of red gems left. I never use the ability. I never get the double strike. So it just is counterintuitive, and so that one left. The other thing too, oh, I got rid of the volcanic, and I wanted to show it to you, but that destroys 6 non-red gems. But if there's red gems out there, and this is kind of the Koth dilemma with that first ability, and actually I'll kind of get to my deck and I'll talk about that when I'm playing a match. And this is just a beautiful card, but there's just no place for it. So this is the deck I came up with. Is when things are going well, this comes out and just havoc. This is havoc. This is good in this kind of a medium card. If I can draw more cards, I can get the cards I need. Just 6 damage to the opponent. That'll get you out of kind of a small jam. This is one of my new favorite cards. I mean, everyone's using it. I mean, it's not a surprise, but you kill a 10/10. You kill a what's the big one? Olivia right now. Just okay, 6. You're dead. And Demolish Red is the only one that has like a good destroy support. Use it. The journal is good for just cycling cards through because you are using in general more than you need. You are using more than 1 card a turn, so you need to get more cards out. This goes with what I'm about to talk about with the downside to Koth is that first ability just sounds so beautiful in destroy the 12 non-red gems because you're like, oh, and whenever it's used against you, you're just like praying nothing happens. But if there are a bunch of red gems out there, just take the match and get the 12 or whatever you can get. But if there's no red gems out there, like let's say there's 5, and then you destroy 12 non-red gems, guess what happens? Well, those 5 don't suddenly link up. You don't actually get any more mana. So I didn't use this first ability as much as I thought I would. And especially in a bind, it just doesn't help you. So let's go through. Since I'm matching red, I think, since there is a match in red, I think I will start with the big boy and see where it goes. And let's see. I mean, obviously you're just matching red if you can. I probably should have matched across, but this is a card I wish I had. Let's talk about with Harness the Storm. So that's actually really good to kill. So right now there's no red gems. And so what do? I'm black and green are my defaults the other way, and I'm fighting against somebody that's also using black and green. So I'm going to do that one. Oh, good. So I'm going to kill that while it can't do damage to my existing creature. And look at that beautiful setup of red. So I'm going to match red, obviously, and I'll do it in that order. I'll do that because I think it messes up the future for the next guy. So, and then if you can get that last red out there, it really, the last ability, the one that costs 20, it really just kills everything. It's just, you get 4/4 on top of your creature every time. It's just a wonderful card, a wonderful support to play. It's actually the second time I've made this video. The first time it didn't save. So I'm going to go like this. I actually added Scour from Existence. My one loss had this in it, and I think it really does help because it's a manageable card. It's manageable to get 12 out, 12 mana while you're not matching any red things. That just takes a few turns. I'm going to get some water. So they actually have a lot of the cards that I kind of showed, but the synergy just didn't work for me. And this, at the beginning of your turn, the first creature your opponent controls takes 1 damage. That's a nice card, but I don't know. Also the one about casting spells to cause 1 damage is okay, but it just, 1 damage isn't enough. So now I'm drawing 2 a turn, which works really well with the wolf, but I don't have any red, and I'm actually gonna, maybe even against my better advice, I'm gonna show you that. So there's no red out there, right? There's 3. And I'm going to do this because it's kind of like a desperation move, right? Hey, I got to get this out. Well, I got 5 there. And guess how many red are there still? 3. So it just isn't as good as you kind of would hope it would be. And let me just get that green match. I don't want to do the match 4 that busted up my own green. So I'm drawing 3 a turn, and destroying that gem is going to actually break up some things, which is good. I'm not going to use Jory, and I already have Jory out there, so I'm already getting the positive effects. So again, when you're tight with this, it just is so tight because there's no, I'm only going to get 2 this turn. I don't see any green. I don't see any black matches. We know that doesn't do much for me. I'll do it again because this is what happens. Actually, you get kind of desperate. You're like, oh, like that time it worked, but the time before it didn't, and so you can't really count on it. There's a black match. So that's the drawback. It's not always fast, but sometimes it is. And so now I have powerful card out there, and I'm going to be discarding one each time. And so I need to be careful on which one I discard. But it is nice that I'm set up to draw 3 a turn. And I like Demolish. I'm going to kill their creature too fast to worry about, so the turn against is going to get whatever. That's how I'm going to set it up. That'll get me 6. And I just noticed that a while ago, is that I can do it right there. I don't want it to come up every time. If they have a creature, I'll know it's there, and I'll make the adjustment. But that just speeds up my hand a little bit more. And I think this is going to be it, guys. So you see how fast they go. You see that when you're not getting mana, you're just not getting mana. You have to have something in there that costs nothing, that costs 5 or 10 or whatever to break it up when that happens. And dead. So now this deck was 19-1. Now it's 20-1. So I don't know, what's that, 4% or something like that. And maybe 4.75 or whatever it is. But it's a quick deck. I think we look back at the tape, probably 4 minutes, and you probably could have done it faster if I wasn't talking the whole time. I do like the update, how it makes it go faster. You see how this works. So I owe you a video. I don't owe you a video. I want to make a video about, I'm going to use only commons and uncommons, and I'm going to show a deck that works. I don't have it made yet, but I know it's out there. I'm also going to show how to master cards with Koth, and that way if you have them, you can master all your red cards and get up to platinum, or just wherever league you want, but you're going to get better rewards. And in the lower leagues, lots of people are like sitting in lower leagues that have really good cards. So I think it's a false thing to stay lower because you're just getting less rewards. And then other people are like, oh, I'm going to beat up on the weak guys that don't have the good decks or as good a decks. But so I think wherever you go, you're going to find tough competition. Thanks, guys. Oh, one other thing is I made a video, and I've said this a few times, about level up your guys, make them level 60. There's no reason to keep them low. There are reasons to keep it low, and I've seen that in 2 different comments, and I've never had a low planeswalker, so I don't know. So I just want to say thank you for letting me know that you're against level 30 people in the events. So I appreciate that. And so for some reasons, not all my advice works for everybody. It works for me, though, and you just kind of see where I am in the game. But that's not the only way, and so I like that a lot. Thanks, guys. Bye.